Here's the phrase that Jim Harbaugh used this week. Now, the Chargers are practicing in North Carolina. They won in Charlotte. They stayed in Charlotte this week to practice and are going right to Pittsburgh on Saturday. And the phrase was, now we will find out what we're made of. In essence, he's trying to set the mental state of Charger football to be prepared to go into Pittsburgh to play the Steelers, the fans, the terrible towels, and the U.S. Steel defense, which is really tough. Well, we'll find out what we're made of. Now, it's got some issues. Justin Herbert has not practiced. This ankle sprain, if that's what it is, or the foot injury. He was on the field today wearing shoulder pads, did not take part in any of the practice, didn't practice at all yesterday, had an x-ray on Monday after he got crushed at the end of the win over Carolina. Easton Stick is taking the bulk of the snaps. And the only burning question I have is why Easton Stick? Why not Taylor Heineke, who you got from Atlanta right at roster cutdown time? So, I mean, he's been in the program 3 weeks, enough to know some of the aspects of the playbook and the fact he's a trusted veteran. Why is it Heineke the guy that they might go to? I don't see how Herbert can play in Pittsburgh if A, he can't move because of the ankle, and B, hasn't practiced all week. So that's an issue there. But who has played? J.K. Dobbins. He leads the NFL in rushing, 9.9 yards per carry. Just absolutely amazing accomplishments first 2 weeks of the season against Raider defense and against a really terrible Carolina team. Quentin Johnston and Land McConkey, top two young wide receivers, have now combined to catch 15 passes in 2 weeks.
Hey.
Go to them. Make them key implements in this offense. The Chargers, Joey Bosa, back and hip issue. He only played 14 snaps on Sunday. So we're a week into the season, and he's dinged, and now he's becoming a part-time player, but he has limited practice this week, so he will be on the field sometime against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can't wait to see the matchup on Sunday. John Alt kind of made Max Crosby disappear in the first game of the season with the Raiders. John Alt, right tackle, TJ Watt, pass rushing linebacker that side. Oh, that is going to be worth the price of admission to see that. And by the way, Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, said this morning down in Charlotte as they were practicing, he was asked an assessment question of your offensive line, where are they? He says, well, J.K. Dobbins leads the world in rushing, 9.9 yards per carry. He says, I think our offensive line is medieval.
Medieval.
So you got the Chargers' medieval offensive line against the U.S. Steel Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Oh, Sunday. I don't care what the hell you're doing at 10 a.m. Sunday. You got to watch the Charger game with me. Pittsburgh, Justin Fields is going to be your quarterback. Justin Fields against that Charger blitz package. Justin Fields, who's really iffy. Russell Wilson, who re-dinged that calf, is not ready. Pittsburgh, we talked about medieval. Pittsburgh plays Neanderthal offense. Just run Najee Harris all the time. Run the damn ball. They don't have a lot of big play receivers outside of George Pickens. They do throw to the tight end, Pat Freiermuth. That's a 6 or 7 yard completion. They just kind of grind it down the field. So it's kind of Neanderthal football in the modern day football, the NFL. But boy, they got defense. They got TJ Watt on one side. They got Alex Highsmith, really good linebacker on the other. They got Cam Hayward, Warrior veteran and defensive end. Linebackers are really good. I mean, their front seven makes a lot of things happen. And if Justin Herbert has to play and he can't move, that's going to be a problem. And the other factor is, can you run against them? That's going to be a challenge because their front seven is really tough. The Bolts are averaging 197 yards per game. Pittsburgh is giving up only 260 yards per game defensively.
Wow.
So I think it's really going to be a good game. The Chargers have given up one offensive touchdown in 8 quarters, but that was against Gardner Minshew and against the incompetence of what the Carolina Panthers are. End of the day, do you like field goal kickers? Because this sucker's going to come down to Cam Dicker versus Chris Boswell.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, hell, it could be a 12-9 football game. I think both teams going to have a tough time scoring against the other guy's defense. John, that's what I'm doing. Getting ready for 10 a.m. I'm all set. You tell me. Bolts, Steelers.
Well, I love the comment. Our offensive line is medieval. I mean, that's what you want Harbaugh to do. That's part of his recipe that he cooks up. You ever seen Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
Yeah, they had that medieval line in that movie, which was fantastic. It's a funny movie. Who's going to start a quarterback for the Steelers? Is it going to be Fields?
It's going to be Fields. Russell Wilson's still not practicing because he retweaked the calf.
Really?
And you got Fields, who's a great athlete, but you've got Fields, who is highly erratic throwing deep in terms of accuracy. And you got Fields, who's got all kinds of footwork problems. And I spent the entire offseason trying to get him to work under center, which is different footwork, so he could read defenses. And he just drops balls, and then he backpedals, and his feet are not aligned to make the throws because he's not on the pocket presence of footwork. Then the ball is sailing. He's just all over the parking lot. But he can also break containment. And once you get him out of the pocket, for some reason, he's much more accurate out here in open space. It's going to be a weird concoction to see how they defend him. Can they freak him out?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I noticed. He was more accurate when he was moving and athletic. You talk about Joey Bosa, 14 snaps. I remember someone in the live stream said a number of months ago that Joey Bosa was the Anthony Rendon of the Chargers.
Probably close.
Because he's always hurt. But J.K. Dobbins leading the league in the NFL. I mean, did you ever expect this? I thought he was more of a part-time, maybe third down back when they got him.
Part-time explosive back in Baltimore because Gus Edwards was the heavy-duty guy, but then they both got hurt. And the only question on J.K. Dobbins was, could he stay on the field? He had 2 major injuries in 2 years in Baltimore. I bet Baltimore wishes they had him now. He had a major knee injury. Then he tore his Achilles last year. And he has come back. And A, he's physical. And B, he's got this extra gear. Once he gets to the second level, how are you going to catch him? Because he's big and powerful, and he's got the extra gear to go. So, I mean, he's had 3 monster runs. I mean, last weekend he had runs of 43 and 61 yards. So as long as they keep him on the field, that turns out to be a big-time acquisition.
Well, we always worried about all the skill guys around Herbert. And the receivers are showing progress, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think Quentin Johnson is made a big step up, and still McConkey, I think, had a great college career. I expect him to do well in the NFL.
Well, between them, 15 catches in 2 weeks. And they're not really been the primary target because the primary offense has been run the ball.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be good. Yeah. 3 Rivers. Here we go. Terrible towels.
So you like field goal kickers?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think Herbert's going to hit guys downfield. If Justin Fields is starting for Pittsburgh, it could be a lopsided affair. Because didn't you call the Steelers as being at the bottom of the AFC Central?
I had him finishing last.
Or the AFC North, I should say. Yeah. So they're at 2-0. That's pretty surprising.
But if there's no Justin Herbert and it's Easton Stick against TJ Watt, then what?
Then you're going to have to shove that Easton Stick somewhere because it's not going to work.
Okay, you're a Charger fan. You're a Pittsburgh fan. Fans Forum chat box is open. Give us your impressions of this weekend's game.